Michigan, weighing 240, Killer Kulaski. His opponent, Minneapolis, Minnesota, weighing 233, Roy McClarity.
Well, that was Manny Whites as he made the introductions. And this is Chuck Burr, once again, from Buffalo's Memorial Auditorium. On your left, Roy McClarity, the good-looking fellow with a full head of hair. In the center, referee Joe Moscato, as he makes with the instructions. And on the right, a newcomer to Buffalo Wrestling, Killer Kulaski. And he is not wearing his head inverted. The foliage is where the hair should be. And if he had as much hair on the top of his head as he has on his chin, he might be a good-looking guy, too. Tell you something funny about Kulaski. To the very best of my knowledge, he has never appeared in Buffalo before. This is his debut. And the minute he put in an appearance, now nobody's seen him wrestle. This crowd just set up a hoot and a holler and greeted him with roars of derision and abuse. And apparently their suspicions are going to be well-founded because Killer Kulaski comes not without reputation for roughness. Let's see how this thing progresses. McClarity, one of the finest wrestlers in the business. Took Kulaski down with a rolling arm lock, and Kulaski said he pulled the beard. Well, if he's going to wear that chin grass, he's got to take some chances, because that's too good a target to overlook. Arm locked by the Killer. He's working on the figures, but Joe Moscato doesn't see it. Takes McClarity down right above our microphone and is being admonished by referee Joe Moscato. Now, McClarity's foot is outside the ropes, and if he had so chosen, he could have forced a referee's break. Now we've got a test of strength as McClarity gets to his feet. This Kulaski has a lot of strength, make no mistake. And now that's the second judo chop to the throat that he's tossed. When we have a chance, I'll tell you a little bit about this Kulaski, as we have the background on him from Herbie Rodhams, the very expert publicity man for the Buffalo Wrestling Club. Boom. And boy, that causes the old ears to ring and the head to spin. This Killer talks a heck of a bout. He is not a man of a few words. Now look closely. Kulaski at the moment is working on all fingers. Now he takes McClarity down to his back by grabbing the pinky and twisting, and that's not legal, but Joe Moscato, of course, didn't see it. Right now it's legal as he works on that hand. All four fingers, that's legal. McClarity threatens, but he doesn't unload, and now I bet he wishes he had. If the position had been reversed, you could bet that the Killer would have wasted no time in popping Roy McClarity right on the beezer. Killer Kulaski, 230 pounds. Falls, Detroit, Michigan is home, but I don't imagine Detroit's particularly proud of him or his tactics in the ring. Roy McClarity, one of the finest wrestlers in the business, 233 pounds, out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, a former intercollegiate football star. And his Midwest bouts with Vern Gagne are still talked about. He had a couple of them that were real dandies. Roy now lives in Chicago, married, and has 4 very wonderful youngsters. As a matter of cold fact, Mrs. McClarity is a very famous wrestler in her own right. She campaigns throughout the Midwest and Far West under the name of Shirley Strimple, her maiden name, and is rated one of the finest, most talented lady wrestlers in the business. Now to get back to the business at hand, that's Kulaski. Now he's wearing a knee brace, and he just rubbed it across McClarity's eyes. Ostensibly, that knee brace is to protect a knee that had been injured. But the killer is not using it for its avowed purpose, or wearing it. And this crowd is in a real uproar. And Joe Moscato's ulcers are a little bit upset now. He's had a pretty tough go with Kulaski, and the bout is hardly 5 minutes old. Now, Kulaski is protesting the closed fists of Roy McClarity. Headlock by the killer. Could easily be a strangle, and Moscato's checking. He says it is. Kulaski says it isn't, and hauls McClarity away from Moscato every time the ref gets down to take a look. Well, it now becomes an academic question. Here comes the killer. That's McClarity backed into his own corner. And Moscato counts. And Kulaski punctuates the break with an eye gouge. And now he takes two right hands to the short ribs. About 6 fasts to the rights to the bridge of the nose. Here goes that knee drop again. And the killer, who had been dishing it out, is now being called upon to take it. Now, this guy, Kulaski, is known as the Lone Wolf of Wrestling. Nobody will have anything to do with him. He's that nasty and that mean. You know, they say birds of a feather flock together, so you would imagine he would find some comradeship in the likes of, say, Hans Schmidt or the Miller brothers. But even they won't trust him. Nobody likes the guy. As a matter of fact, he's using the ropes for leverage on that step-over toe hold, and he draws another warning from Joe Moscato. And Moscato ought to know that warning this guy is of no more use than warning Khrushchev that he's leading Russia into trouble. Moscato asks the judge on this side of the ring, is he grabbing the ropes? And the judge says yes, so Moscato orders a break. Kulaski complies, but not before he applies the boots most liberally to Roy McClarity. Right above us. Wham, the turnbuckle treatment. Once again, Moscato says cut it out, and I think this Kulaski is going to get himself hauled right out of here in a minute. Joe Moscato is warning him, and Roy McClarity says, ref, get out of the way. This time I'm going to take myself. And he proceeds to do exactly that. Mr. McClarity goes to work. Here he comes, right in the lap. Whoa! Off the turnbuckle. Knee to the throat. And McClarity has gone wild in there. And the crowd loves it. This could be the finisher. This is a variation of the Cobra hold. Kulaski is being asked, you want to concede? So far, no. He's got a version of the Cobra hold on him. A legal choke hold, not a choke in the strict sense of the word. It's all over. I think it's all over. No, it's not. He hasn't conceded yet. But he's cutting off the blood supply to the brain. And Mr. Kulaski collapses like a whipped doll. And it's all over. And Roy McClarity puts the crusher on him. We'll have the time in a moment. But that ending was fast and furious. Kulaski carrying the offensive all the way. All of a sudden, got Mr. McClarity's dander all the way up. And boy, then the cream puff hit the fan. And for about a minute and a half, McClarity was like a wild man and finally applied the Cobra hold, or his version of it.
9 minutes, 27 seconds. Roy McClarity, the winner.
There it is, Roy McClarity, the winner, in 9 minutes, 27 seconds over Killer Kulaski. And they're attempting to bring Mr. Kulaski to in mid-ring. We'll be back in a moment or so, but first of all, Bruce Wake.